Hello and good afternoon. This is Ronald Berg with Style Speaks. I have a very special edition of Style Speaks this month. I'm here in Silver Spring. I actually came out right outside of DC a little bit for this interview, but I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland, right over the line here to talk to a very I don't want to say old, but we got to put that in there because, you know, it's an old friend, dear friend, Mr. Baron Howard. Baron, thanks for being here with me today.
My pleasure.
Definitely. And as you all know, the topic of discussion is style and fashion. And as everyone exhibits their own personal sense of style and fashion, what Baron is here to talk about, and he can talk about his own personal style too if you want to get all into that. But most importantly, what's trending today in my eyes, and the ultimate sense of style and fashion is what he's doing with our youth today, and building and rebuilding and a lot of things and projects that he's working on. So I welcome you, and I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me today. So how's it going, Mr. Baron?
I would always say it's great, and
okay.
I'm moving forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have an extensive history. Like I said, we're childhood friends, and it's really a pleasure to see you and have you sit down and talk to me today. So, okay, let's get the little style and fashion piece out the way if you want to go there. If you were to, and I'm just going to ask you kind of a generic question, if you were to classify your own personal sense of style, how would you term it? Let me see if I stumped him with this one. Okay.
An evolution style.
Okay. That's a new one.
It revolves around being innovative with who I'm around.
Okay.
What environment I'm in.
Okay.
The way I teach young people is you can't come in a boardroom with your pants hanging down or your hat turned backwards. So you shouldn't be in the street that way. I mean, what you do to represent yourself either as a prospect or a suspect. So I'm always conscious of what I'm doing, what I'm selling, and if I'm promoting education, I'm gonna look educational. If I'm promoting jerseys, then I'm gonna do that. So I'm adaptive. I could be a chameleon in what I do.
Okay. You adapt to the situation,
Absolutely.
to the cause.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna call that eclectic. I like to use that. You like that?
Yeah, I like
okay,
that.
okay. I don't want to have you use my term, but okay, eclectic style. And well, you touched on, and that's a great segue into youth and the boardroom and presenting a professional look. So how do you first talk about it, and however you want to do that? To talk about what you do with Be Smart, what that means, and what's your vision and what's your goal?
Well, Be Smart came about as Mr. Bird and I were in high school, and in our circle, at least mine at that time, being smart was being white. And so I ran away from being smart. Even though I had the vernacular, the intellect, I felt really, I wanted to connect with the friends that was in my circle. So, being smart wasn't what I wanted to exhibit. But all the time I had a snapback. I was always that guy that if you said something too, I had a comeback with a snapback. And so I was already being smart, and they would say that in a negative. They would say, man, you're always being smart. So fast forwarding to 2009, when I was sitting down coming up with a moniker, which is for us in the hood, that's a nickname. It was talking to a great friend of mine over 20 years that said the letter B, and I was being smart with her on the phone, and she said, "Be smart." And I said, wow, that is what I'm going to call myself, right? And then I used it also as a way to say, how do I connect with young people? Because they're always wearing something that says something. And the negativity is one of the things that I was trying to change. So I say they would wear BS, right? Because they would think something else. Right. So somebody's going to come up and say, what's that BS you wearing? And they can say, that's being smart.
Wow. Hence, and hey, B is the first initial of your first name
absolutely,
too.
Absolutely.
So that kind of really works.
Absolutely. So Be Smart was really consciously thought about, and as I have Be Smart products out right now. I have a DVD called How to Develop an Honor Student. CD, a book that's at its last stages, that's going to be out, a collection of information that talks about how to get your child or the adult to be smart, because it's time out for being dumb.
Okay.
We can no longer do that. Okay. So being smart has to be it, and everything we do, being smartly dressed, being smartly thinking, and so that's where Be Smart came from, and I'm so elated that came out of me.
Well, I know you work with some mentorship programs and you do the mentoring piece, and a part of that, I'm sure, is developing young men to be able to go out into the world and gain these opportunities first by presenting themselves. I think we talked about that earlier in what Style Speaks and letting your first impression speak for you. So how do you present that in your seminars, in your teachings, in your mentorships, in collaboration with Be Smart? How do you teach the young, specifically the young men and also the young ladies, how to present themselves, since we're kind of, bringing that back into the whole style and fashion piece? How important is that in your
Well,
delivery?
it's very important.
Okay.
As my grand educator, Dr. Witten, would say, once you get people in, you have to have some information to give them. What carrot you get them in with. And we also, and you said young ladies, we started out with young men. It's called the LOT program, Leaders of Today, under the Be Smart mentoring umbrella. And once a principal came into the classroom and saw what we were doing with the young men in a bullying presentation, she asked us, could we do that with young ladies? And now we have a program called the Phenomenal Leaders of Today, which is our female end. So I say we'd like to say we have a fraternity and sorority called of leaders. And so in that instance, we talk about presentation. I do a rites of passage for males, and it talks about dress, and as you and I were talking about, your dress says something. And I use things that they can relate to, or people they can relate to. We can use Jay-Z, for example. He's able to dress down, but when he goes in the boardroom, he dresses a different way. And so they can relate to that. And we must be able to relate to our young people how valuable it is to have not only tennis shoes, but dress shoes. That's a value.
Right.
Because you're going to be in situations where you need to be able to do both.
Right.
And so that's the emphasis on it. And I would go back to, if you're wearing your hat backwards, which way are you going? And we talk like that, you know what I'm saying? Which way are you going? Because the hat demonstrates, the bill demonstrates the way you should be going.
Right.
And so we can't be going backwards.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I think even take, for instance, the young rappers. There's a lot of people in the rap game. A lot of young people want to, be musicians and things like that. And the whole hip hop look and flavor, they have to look a certain way. You were talking earlier about you were selling, in another interview, you were selling T-shirts, so sweatshirts. You want to look that.
Yeah.
So how do they know when to turn that off? It's like, if I'm in the game, I need to look like I'm in the game all the time.
Right.
I don't have time to invest in suits and ties when I'm a rapper, and any meetings or any dealings that I'm going to do, they know what I do, and this is how I'm supposed to present myself. I need to have a tight this and a tight design or that. So how do you let them know that it's just as equally important as to be professional without saying that they have to? Because a lot of young people think that that's selling out or that's being something that they're not. How do you address that when you get that kind of argument?
Well, that is dressed in entrepreneurship.
Okay.
When you look at how the person's dressed that comes to you to get you to be a rapper, they're not dressed in a chain or a lot of jewelry.
True.
They dressed in a suit.
True.
So either you choose to be the person who owns the team,
Right.
or you choose to be the person whose dog tail you wag as the dog. So we can choose both, right? We could be the player. We see Magic Johnson do it.
Right.
He played, then he began to be the owner.
Absolutely.
So you could do both, but
Great
if we're
example.
not taught in the home, the school's job is what its job is. Our home is dealt to do financial literacy, the importance of family and education, and if we do that part, then they understand their value, their worth. So the outfit that you wear, we dress up in so many different name brand things. We walk on a walking billboard. Mm-hmm. Where is your name at?
Right.
Your name is a designer. If you
Who are
understand.
you? Right.
Yeah,
Behind
exactly.
all that.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So, do you get resistance, resilience in your teachings and your mentorships when you're dealing with, and I keep kind of specifying young men, but also with women who want to challenge that? Is your message, received well? Are they open to that, or it's just a matter of being able to afford? I think it's just a mentality, because if you can afford, $300 tennis shoes, you can go and buy you a suit. So it's being able to think differently, thinking outside of the box, and you, as you said, entrepreneurship. Yeah, you're talking to this level, but if they're trying to get into the game, they're not thinking. A lot of them, maybe some are, they're not thinking up here. They just want to get in. So this is okay. Mediocre is okay, and looking the part is okay for me right now.
Well, not in front of me.
Okay.
Because the mediocre is not acceptable. See,
Okay.
we have low expectations
Right.
of our young people, and they reach the bar. You know,
Okay.
if you have low expectations, they're going to hit that every
Right,
time.
right.
My expectation is not that you get out of high school. My expectation is that you go to college
Gotcha.
or your apprenticeship or you get into business. That's
Okay.
an expectation.
Okay.
So we got to stop
We need to
giving.
step it up, right.
Right. We got to stop giving the limousine in high school and acting like they've accomplished
Right.
something.
That's-
Mission not
that's it.
accomplished.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
So it's what you give to the expectation. So in my field, in dealing with youth, it's not changing the youth's understanding. It's actually changing the parents' paradigm because they are the ones buying the Jordans instead of.
Right.
They are the ones giving them
Right.
the sports instead of tutoring.
Right.
And so once we get the child, it's almost like, you know, it's one day a week. So sometimes we got to re-emphasize and reconfigure their thinking because they done went home with some negative thinking and then we got to retrain it all over
Gotcha.
again. So if we can get the parent in, then we're able to get the child to better be equipped because they don't come in with more knowledge than me. Right?
Right.
So you're not going to listen to somebody else. This is my show,
Right.
and I know how to get you where you need to go.
Right, right.
And for the most part, young people are willing to do that.
Okay.
They just need the right vehicle.
Okay.
You know, I call them the bomb in Gilead. They are a bomb, and who's going to ignite that bomb? And so my thing is, we bring people like yourself around, Brother Corbett, because they need to see who they're going to be. And if they always in front of the rapper and the entertainer, then that's all that they think they can be.
Right.
And for young males, that's pretty much what they're told, you know, either entertainer or athlete.
Right.
You know?
Right. Great stuff. Well, in reference to sort of, okay, well, talk to me a little bit more about, I mean, you have a lot of, you mentioned a few, you have an umbrella company, you got a lot of things going on here. So if people wanted to, you know, connect to you for a specific, whether they want to deal with young people, entrepreneurship, how does one do that? Tell us about the different.
Well,
avenues
I
to get
have
to you.
my
'Cause
telephone.
you got so much going on.
I do.
You got a lot going on, Baron.
I do. And we must. And we must.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
got to tackle.
Yeah.
We must.
And I say that in a good way.
I know. But I want people to understand that we're capable of doing that.
Okay.
Our children are even more capable of
Right,
doing that.
right,
You know.
right.
And so to contact me would be 240-232-6506. My email address is the letter B, SMARTSPEAKS@gmail.com, and you can hit me up on Facebook at Baron B Smart, BSMART Howard. I guarantee you I hit you back.
Great. Well, that's one. I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, Baron? That you wanted to touch on before we close it out?
Absolutely.
What did you want to say?
I think that relationship building
Okay.
is very, very important.
Okay.
That's why we together.
Okay.
And if you don't understand that your education, your association, and your environment are the three levels to being successful, and no matter what age you are in, then you're totally confused. Because we can get as much education as we need, but if we don't have the right relationships, we're not able to carry it through. So we must teach our young people and people of age how to network. You know, don't network without a purpose.
Right.
You understand? Because if you don't understand your value, then you don't understand who you are and whose you are. And that's what we teach our young people in our program, is they must understand who they are. And when you understand who you are, you will no longer allow anybody to degrade you as the king or queen that you were designed to be. And then when we put that in them, then they act right. You know, so we got to give them that act right.
Okay. Too much. This is the man right here, Mr. Baron Howard. Thank you so much for spending your time with me
My
today.
pleasure, brother.
It's great seeing you.
My pleasure.
Love you like a brother.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
my brother.
From
this
another
is,
mother.
Absolutely. Well, this has been another edition of Style Speaks. We'll see you next time. Till then, we out.
Peace.